now.
All right, we are live. Welcome to part four, episode four of the Rust Belt Boys podcast. Hopefully, we're gonna get a debate in someday. This was supposed to be another debate, but it didn't work out. So we're just gonna be kind of answering questions from chat and talking about the infrastructure bill. That's about it. If anyone else wants to get on and talk, feel free. I sent the link in the group chat to a couple other people, so hopefully we'll get some more people besides me and just Mike on.
Yeah.
But yeah, thank you guys for tuning in, and we're going to discuss the infrastructure bill. So, Mike, what are your thoughts on the infrastructure bill?
Well, like most sane Americans, I'm kind of like against it. Most of it is Green New Deal stuff. They've kind of done, I think I told you earlier, or probably did, that it's basically like the Democrat version of the Patriot Act. Like they give it a name and then they just completely like add a bunch of crazy stuff in there that is not at all making sense, and it doesn't really help at all with the issues. My main reason with the issue of it is basically the Rust Belt has for decades been declining in population. It has been declining in industry, and the places booming in population are also, coincidentally, places that aren't the best infrastructure. It's not the worst, but it isn't the best. And I feel like if it's booming in population, Texas, Florida, Georgia, North Carolina, like Tennessee, even South Carolina, like these places, even Virginia, like even a blue state, like if you get these areas actually, like if it went there, it would be one thing. So it'd be like, okay, you know what? It's actually helping out the areas that are booming in industry. They're growing in population. They're actually, needing help right now. Like, but it's not that at all. It's in the place that's decreasing in population, the place where no one wants to live, not because of the infrastructure. It's because of, the fact that our economy isn't doing so good, and the infrastructure wouldn't help that at all. Like it would give jobs for a bit, but once we're done with it, what's going to happen next? Now you're going to have a bunch more jobless people. Like, sure, it'll, like he said, oh, my plan will create like millions of jobs or whatever, and it will for like a few months, and then everything will be done. Then you have Green New Deal stuff in there, where it's just like, and I'm fine with green energy. I don't care personally, but I just think that it would probably be better to provide incentives for people to want to go green instead of like actually printing more money. Because sure, inflation is up 7%, which is already a historic high in 40 years, but that's not including like gas prices and food prices. The index only does like a bunch of, I forgot what else it included, but it does everything else basically. So, which means inflation is probably way higher. Because I've gotten to the point where like I had like a loaf of bread and it was like $3.35 at the store last year, and then all of a sudden it's like, $4 or $4.10, and I'm like, that is literally a 33% jump. That can't happen. Like that doesn't happen overnight. That doesn't just surprisingly like, oh my god, there isn't a bread shortage. I mean, sometimes there is, but I mean, I haven't heard of anything. I mean, it's like locally sourced bread. That's why it's a little expensive. But yeah, no, I don't get it at all why we even have this supply chain crisis, which is a whole other thing that we should be dealing with first. Back to the infrastructure bill. It has literally so many things. And then they're thinking about adding bridges and adding a bunch of things as well, which isn't really needed. And it violates a lot of building codes. I mean, they're planning on building a highway bridge close to like my school, like another one close to my house. Like you can't do something like 30 feet in front of my house. Like that's not, you're obnoxious when you do that. You've ignored all the streets, you've ignored all the houses, you just drew lines on a map and said, there we go. It works now. It doesn't. You've you, you've screwed this nation. You're gonna make the Rust Belt worse. You're gonna make America worse. It's almost like they're trying to destroy America. It's not even like, oh, a coincidence, like, oh, maybe it's just their views. I mean, Republicans mess up too, which is true. But like it's gotten to the point where it's so blatantly obvious. So yeah, sure, there's infrastructure stuff in there. Then you got Green New Deal stuff that you're basically forcing onto people. Property values are going down now. Everyone in my neighborhood, if they're moving, they're hoping to get California buyers, because my friend moved down to Texas, and when they sold their house, it was only worth like 250,000, and she just put it up at like 400 or 500,000, and it was like, they were just like, they thought no one would bite, but they gave it a shot. And some Californians came and they're like, wow, what a steal, and they bought it. and then they moved down to Texas, and they got like this 4,000 or 5,000 square foot house, like for like, the same amount of money, or like 300,000 or something. They had 100,000 left over, so they were like, oh, we can live in luxury now. Like, so it's obvious which states, which policies work better. And it's gotten a little obnoxious with all the laws and all the things that are being passed, all the executive orders, and then now this infrastructure bill. I'm glad that the infrastructure bill was the only thing that actually like passed, because imagine if we had like vaccine mandates that passed, that would be hell. So yeah, no, that's my thoughts on it. I probably have a lot more. I just breezed over it, but that's my main issues. I'm kind of mad about that.
Yeah, I mean, fair enough. That's you clearly have a lot of opinions about the infrastructure bill, which is good because there's a lot of bad stuff in it. And you're completely right. All it does is destroy the places that are already being destroyed. So that we're gonna let on some more guests. We have AP
Hello.
and NTEP. So welcome on, guys.
Hi.
I am part of the Rust Belt.
Hell yeah, what part? You don't got to say it, but I'm curious.
Ohio.
Oh.
He's from California.
Oh, okay.
He wishes he was in the Rust Belt.
Oh god. Would you consider Massachusetts part of it? I'd consider it
No.
like a
That's
revitalized.
like New England.
Yeah,
Massachusetts is in New England, yeah.
yeah, because like I saw some maps where it did, and even included Maine, and I was like, what? So I was like curious as to
Maine does kind of swing like the Rust Belt.
Maine's Maine's kind of culturally similar to the Rust Belt a little bit because it's more working class,
Yeah,
and it's very white. Maine's really white working class. It's not as like college educated as the rest of the Northeast, but it's definitely more northeastern than
Yeah.
Rust Belt.
Yeah.
yeah. New York is iffy too. New York is like,
By Buffalo is definitely Rust Belt, but
yeah.
like Buffalo, Rochester, that part of the state's Rust Belt, but everything else is northeastern.
Yeah, New
I
York
feel
isn't
like-
Rust Belt. It's more like northeastern.
Like it's weird because Buffalo is
Hmm.
one of the most Rust Belty places you can get, but other than that, it's pretty much all northeastern.
I feel like everything west of the Appalachians in New York is Rust Belt, but then once you get east of them, it's just New York City and Albany.
Yeah.
That's it.
Yeah.
That's our compromise. So there we go. Kentucky and Missouri are weird ones as well. I'm just like, I don't know what to talk about. What do these two want to talk about?
I'm not really sure.
We could talk about March for Life.
Yeah, that was
March
pretty
for
cool.
Life was pretty, yeah.
What do you got?
Um,
I heard Glenn Youngkin endorsed it.
Yeah, he
yeah.
did.
Dude,
There are a
Glenn
lot of
Youngkin.
Gen Z. There are a lot of Generation Z like people
Yeah.
in it.
Gen Z, like everybody, like is just like, oh, it's a new generation. It's probably gonna be more liberal. I don't think so. Especially
Gen Z is
yeah.
more libertarian than if
Yeah.
anything.
That's
Like,
what I said a while ago. Like,
and we're kind of populist too, I'd say.
yeah, like Gen Z, I think, like I said a while ago, we are the first generation to not go left, not go right, but to go libertarian. It's pretty interesting. Give me one sec.
Libertarianism is cringe. I hate to break it to you.
I'm not saying that it's not, but I mean, Gen Z is definitely more libertarian. I mean, a lot of Gen Z is socially like more center left, fiscally center right, but they're still pretty anti-establishment, which that's basically. It's not necessarily libertarianism because libertarianism is like more just small government, but it's definitely aligns more with libertarianism if you had to describe it.
Most Generation Z is like pro-life and, yeah.
Yeah.
No, that's why I'm saying Gen Z is so weird. If you look at the polls done, a lot of Gen Z say that they're like pro-life. Like I think it's like 55-45, maybe even 60-40 of Gen Z is pro-life, but then like 70-30 is pro like alphabet stuff. It's weird. We're like pro-life but pro-gay at the same time. Like on social
Is there
issues
a
and some
flag
things
for
are
pro-abortion people?
What was that?
Is there a flag for pro-abortion people?
There probably is.
It's probably just red or something. But anyway, basically, yeah, no, you saw what I did there. But yeah, no, I don't know what we were talking about, so I need like.
Yeah, we're just talking about how Gen Z is more libertarian than other.
Yeah, it isn't like ultra
Concept
libertarian, which I
Gen
like.
Tea Party.
Yeah,
I'd say yeah, more or less Tea Party.
Yeah.
Yeah, maybe constitutionalist mixed in there, but
Gen Z is not pro-abortion 2048 political commentary.
Yeah, no, 2048 political commentary. There's been polls done that show Gen Z is like 60-40 pro-life. That's why I'm saying it's weird, because if you look at polls, like that they just do among high school and like college students, Gen Z is like 60-40 pro-life, but then like 70-30 pro-gay. It's kind of weird.
Yeah.
I mean, like, it makes sense because at least at my school, like 5 or 10% of the kids are like gay or whatever, which is weird.
Yeah.
And then like later they're just like, oh, I was confused. I'm like, well, fuck you too then. Like, you can't just say that because then you make the whole movement look bad. So
Yeah.
I'm talking to my friend Sienna, and she's bi and hardcore Republican, very pro-life and all that. And she's just like, these dumb fucks, like they just say this so that they can get social, like, acceptance, even though nobody cares. Like, they're not getting propped up on a pedestal or anything, at least here. They're not getting anything. They're just like literally just like, okay, that's cool. And then now, and here's what really confuses me, and I'm just gonna fucking say it. I don't get non-binary. I don't understand that. What's up with that? Like,
They/them.
Yeah, how can you just not have a gender?
like that makes like I get it if you're confused, but some people like genuinely identify as like a they them, and like there's people that have said I'm it's. I'm like, that's just fucking offensive. Like, that's usually like an insult someone would say to you. You know,
Non-binary people are literally, they just have mental illnesses. Like, it's just.
here's like if my kid came out to me as like gay or something, I wouldn't really care. I'd be like, okay, cool. But like if they come out to me as trans or non-binary, immediately therapy. Because once you go through whatever you got to go through, that's like life changing. Like, you can't come back from that.
I'd probably
Yeah.
sit down with them and like have a long discussion and like actually like just talk to them and see what they would do. Because I mean, it'd be nice to
I
change
think
their
I'd
mind. I mean,
maybe.
maybe conversion therapy, but I mean,
I wouldn't do conversion therapy. I would just genuinely take them to actual therapy. Like, because typically, like, there's
yeah.
some trans people that are just trans because they don't know what else, or like something happens to them and they're so confused, or like then some group is just like, hey, we'll accept you, or hey, you can talk to us about it. And then like they think, oh wait, I'm confused about that, maybe I'm trans, and then they realize like later on, whatever.
Yeah.
My main issue that I have right now is stuff going on in Oregon and like Washington, where it's like you can go to these trans clinics or whatever, get hormones and stuff without a parental consent under the age of
I
18.
would like to burn those to the ground, just like Planned Parenthood.
Yeah, because like at least in Illinois, which I kind of respect, it's like puberty blockers. So it's like basically it puts puberty on a pause, and then you wait till you're 18, and it's like, are you sure? And then
I think we
basically,
should ban trans surgery. Not.
I think it's
I think
America.
it's a fair idea.
I think it's America. If you really want to go through with it, that's your body. It's not really
Yeah,
my
but
issue.
like they're gonna probably lower the age, so you can get it. Like,
Yeah, for
you
trans,
you just have to like.
I
gamble
think
with
for
the
trans
chance.
surgery, you should be 21 and older, and even then, it should be restricted somewhat.
I
Like,
think
you
you
have to really, really have a good reason, and you should be 21 or older.
Well, here's what it is.
There's not really even a good reason, to be honest. So
Well, what you need is basically a note from your therapist, from
yeah, something like
therapists,
that. I would support
showing
that.
that you have gender dysphoria, which is a real thing. And there is science behind being trans, which is why like I kind of support it, but like I don't really support the movement right now because it's getting really like, heterophobic and all that.
Yeah,
But I do support anyone that is trans, because it's like they're like, again, I'm a science nerd. It's like men have gray matter in their brains, women have white matter. If there's an imbalance in that, statistically speaking, like 90 or 95% of the time, they turn out to be trans. So there is science behind it, and there's also chemical imbalances and all that. So I think if you want to, like, we have written in our Constitution for the like everyone should have equal opportunity for life, liberty, and the pursuit of happiness. And I think that if someone really wants a trans surgery, they should be able to get it. Who gives a fuck?
But then there's also like, hey dad, I'm coming out as Zay/Zem, and I'd probably just like, yeah, take to this therapy.
Yeah, exactly. Like most people would. Like no one would,
Yeah.
because like I've gotten to the point where like one of my friends came out as that, and I was like, I sat them down. I was like, do you need help? Like, is this a cry for help, or like what's going on here?
Or just like, do. You gotta
What
do
does it even mean?
Like, well, one friend literally said they were qui quem. Like, I shit you not. I
Wow.
was like, I'm not doing this. And then she's like, why? And I was like, that might be normal in Washington where you're from, but here it isn't. So like,
Wait, what they say?
they said their pronouns are qui quem, and I thought they were joking because it was in a dreg or whatever. I forgot how to pronounce his name, but it was in a dreg video where he joked about it. But no, they were serious. Those are apparently real pronouns. And I was like, okay, well, I guess I don't really care. But she just went along with it for like ever, and eventually, or Quee went along with it for whatever, and eventually, like, I literally got so bored of it. I was like, yeah, I'm out.
Why would you tell their parents, like, tell them to take them to therapy, like,
Because
At that point, their parents are probably in support of it.
Clem, like, oh my gosh.
because here's the thing: either they're really supportive of it and they'd hate me for it, and then I would just like have more people to hate, and also I wouldn't get across and be a waste of my time, or it would be they really are unsupportive and they'd actually abuse her over it. So it's kind of like a lost cause. Like, I can't help in any sort of scenario. This is kind of her walk of life. This isn't mine. She'll figure
Yeah,
it
like,
out.
you do you, like, yeah.
Yes, Buckeye's still laughing about that. That's like
Yeah, I mean, I don't know. Like, is there like a specific reason to be qui quen? Like,
Is she like a
is there some
queen?
sort of
Does she
trans
wanna be a
ideology,
queen?
I guess, or
I
trans
don't
thing you
know.
can become that says that those become your pronouns, or do you just say you want to be
Evidently,
called that?
evidently, like it's just up to her, and that's why I hate the left movement as well, because I would be able to support them kind of, but now they've literally like they've gone, and this is kind of why I also believe in horseshoe ideology, because once you get so extreme on both sides, they kind of seem closer a little bit. So now, they're saying like, no, being trans is a choice. It's like both sides are literally saying that, like extremes on both sides. You can't say that. Like,
Some
there's
gay
a
account
reason.
followed me earlier today.
Yeah. Like, you can't just randomly pop up and be like, yeah, no, there's a science reason behind it. It didn't fall out of the sky. And they're like, they bring up like twin spirit or something in Native American culture, which isn't about gender at all. It's literally just about like their beliefs in like having two souls and the balance or whatever of one being male and one being female, which really was just more of like everyone has a masculine and feminine side, which is kind of true to a certain extent.
I mean, not really. Like, most Chads, like, are 100% masculine.
There's no way AP just said that.
Oh my god. It sounds like
Can
your
we make a
balls
quote
having
of that? Can we make a
what?
quote box for that?
Days.
All Chads are masculine. AP 2022.
Oh my god, we totally need to get him into office. I pray you get into power one day. I really do.
Me too.
You know what? You know what's funny? I really was looking forward to debating Doingus today. Like, I was.
I was too.
really-
I was so excited. You guys are duking it out in that group chat over religion. I was like, all right, this is gonna be an epic debate. And then
Well-
he has to like go shopping or something.
Yeah, because he's
Wait, they're
scared.
debating on religion?
Yeah, he's
Yeah.
scared. He's scared of debating me because he knows I know
Okay.
my stuff.
Libertarian Zoom, are you, like, Jewish or Christian or?
He's
Uh,
Jewish.
Jewish, but more like on the
Oh,
agnostic
okay.
side because I
Oh,
really. don't-
yeah, Doingus. Yeah, I don't think you would like to debate him on that.
Oh, I would, because he's wrong, and that's why I know he is. Because like he's just like, what about Gehenna? It's in the book of Talmud. I'm like, it's in the Talmud. I'm like, no, it isn't. Gehenna is a physical place in this world. It's the valley of Gehenna. A king sent his people to be enslaved there. Like that. Like, I just gave up. I didn't even bother. It was like he like took bits and stuff, and then even if it was a place, it was more like a purgatory. So it wasn't even like, if it was like a different realm, like it wouldn't have been anything. So he's just, I don't know, he doesn't know anything, and he's trying to argue against something he doesn't know about.
We love the Jewish, don't we, folks?
And then
Yeah.
and then
Yes.
and then he said like something about like hell not being perpetual torture, and I want to get your guys' views on that, because I was like, wow, I didn't know
Wait,
that.
did he say hell wasn't torture?
He said hell wasn't necessarily a perpetual torture, a perpetual, like, constant.
California is worse
Has
than
he
hell.
ever read the Bible?
Yeah, I was just like, I didn't realize hell had labor unions. Like, they don't have breaks, dude. Like, they're literally, it's always in there. It's the lake of fire. eternal torture, never ending. It specifically says that in there. That's one of the reasons why I couldn't believe it, because I didn't believe a loving God could send its people there no matter what they did for eternity, like never ending, like it never stops. Like Hitler doesn't even deserve that. Like
Yeah, no, Vince Dow, he said something. He said that Satanists, they don't really believe in Satan. They don't really worship Satan. They worship themselves. They're just selfish. And yeah, I agree with that.
Yeah, no, I think that a real hell would be purgatory and then being washed to your sins and then being forced to actually like see the people you victimized. Like that would mess you up. Like
Yeah.
that would be my real hell at least.
But there's plenty of people who just wouldn't care. I mean, if you're really hurting people, then chances are, even if you saw how much suffering you caused, it wouldn't really matter to you.
Yeah, but if you were washed of your evil, because God is capable of that. If you were washed of your evil, you would be,
Yeah, any sin can be forgiven except there's one sin.
Murder or rape, because rape isn't in the Bible. So, which is shocking. I thought it would be.
Wait, isn't it in the Bible?
I don't think rape is ever mentioned in the Bible. So, in God's eyes, if he forgot about it, then oh well, but, technically. And also the Bible supports polygamy, which was pretty weird. I found that. Like
rape is in the
Wait, did you say murder could it be forgiven?
Murder, I don't think could.
No, murder can be forgiven.
No,
Any sin can be
got
forgiven as
murdered,
long as you're truly sorry for it and you work to repent against it.
Yeah.
I guess it is one of the 10 Commandments, though, so it's kind of high up there.
And the Bible does say any sin can be forgiven except blasphemy against the Holy Spirit. That's the only sin that can't be forgiven.
That's like how egotistical this guy is. Like if I was a god, I wouldn't have blasphemy in there. I'd be like, you can say whatever the hell you want about me. Like, I don't care.
No, but it's not blasphemy against the Holy Spirit is not like talking against God. Blasphemy of the Holy Spirit is something that it's opposition to truth, like after you die. I'm pretty sure.
Yeah.
You cannot commit the sin while you're living. It's after you die.
Really?
Yeah.
I still wouldn't really care. I'd kind of have two heavens. I'd have one full of the blasphemous guys, and I just kind of would ignore it. And then have one for like the cool guys, and they could meet up once in a while. I'd open the gates for like a second, and then they could just kind of see each other. And that's how cruel I am. I would just I'd work around it. I don't know. I always like to think once in a while, I'm like, what if we're in a simulation and none of this matters at all? Wouldn't that be cool? Like, it would give me ease, and I'm not anxious
Yeah,
about.
sometimes I think I'm in a simulation. It's just like weird.
Well, I just kind of like, it makes me like feel better because I'm like, no matter how much embarrassing stuff happens to me, it won't matter in the end. It'll be someone's entertainment on a VR headset. So,
Yeah.
That's all good.
Yeah, the metaverse is scary though.
The metaverse, it's turning out to be a complete failure. So there's that. I mean, but then there's also obnoxious people on it too. They're like, someone groped my virtual tits. And I was like, I don't care. Why is this an article? This is an actual article. The police are getting involved. Why? Why is this happening?
Abuse in the metaverse. There's an article about abuse in the metaverse.
Oh, domestic violence in the metaverse. Like, this is getting really weird.
Racism in the metaverse.
Oh my.
Homophobia in the
Racism in the metaverse.
Dude, I want to take part in that. Get me a headset. I need to do that. 1 sec, I'm going in. I'm gonna do it.
The simulation theory is just a big LARP. I mean,
I don't know. I'd be interested to see. That's why I'm more curious of what's after death. Like, that's why I'm not scared of it.
I watched The Matrix, and that just got me thinking. Like, it was just like the first Matrix. It just got me thinking. Like, if we actually were.
I mean, Elon Musk says we could be, so that's cool. But it would have to be like because I think a lot of scientists say if we discover the singularity by 2040, which is possible, then it's like, it's a pretty big chance because like that's 100 years almost exactly between making the atomic bomb and then also making the singularity. Like, that's a little bit of coincidence. We're right in between from exploring the world, too late to explore the world, too early to explore the universe, just in time for Joe Biden's bullshit. This is the prime top tier simulation. So, yeah, no, I'd invest.
Yeah.
So,
America First Mapping wants to be let in.
He's
Bust
not
up.
in the waiting list.
who is in the waiting list?
No one.
Well, okay.
Oh, now NTEP one. NTEP's in the waiting list. There's 2 NTEPs.
Wait, what?
I have a socialist friend, but I think he's busy today, so I don't think I could debate him.
Aw.
You know. I would've. I asked him, and he said, "Nah, sorry." He wants to come on eventually. I was like, let's give it like 6 months. Let's give it like 6 months, and I'll see if I can let you in. But
Yeah.
because I wanted to run that by you first, but I didn't want to seem like, hey, I just started coming on here. Can I invite one of my friends on?
Yeah, nah. If you really were gonna have a good debate with him, I'd be all over that. So that sounds fun.
Yeah. No, I don't think, because like we pretty much debated, so it would just be boring. So I'd like one of you to debate him. That would be cool. But like me and him have debated on stuff, and it kind of just ended in a stalemate. So that's probably how it would end again. So it would be a very boring debate, and it would just be like, well, there's this. And I'd be like, yeah, well, there's this. And then we just point at each other's like capitalist and socialist failures, and it never got anywhere. And then I was just like, you know what? One socialist country works, and that's Finland, so at least you have that. And then he said, dude, Finland isn't socialist, it's just a really far left capitalist. I'm like, oh my god. We aren't agreeing on anything. So it was just literally no one won that. So yeah, it just kind of it went there. You guys could try though.
All right, AFM wants to be let on. Here he is.
Hello.
Hello.
Okay, is this audio working?
Yeah,
Very
it is.
quiet, but yes.
You sound like you're underwater.
Okay. Now is it better?
There we go. Better.
Okay. Yes, I had my headphones on, so.
So what are you guys' thoughts on the Texas primary? That's in 1 month.
I don't really care. Is this like for the governorship?
It's for everything, but yeah, governorship is included.
Well, yeah, Greg Abbott's gonna get like 70% of the vote, and everyone is gonna be like, "Oh no, guys, the world's over, guys."
Why is everybody against Greg Abbott? He's a good governor.
I don't know. I think it's because he's just like old, white, and Republican. So the news is just like,
And
aha.
he's in a wheelchair also.
And
That's not what it. No, people are criticizing him from the right. That's what it is. It has nothing to do with him being a Republican. No, we're talking about the primary because a lot of people think he's too liberal, but I don't even think he's that
he shows
bad.
for big tech sometimes.
He's cringe when he shows for
but
big tech, but he's also taking big steps on abortion, so I don't really mind him too much.
He's one of the best
And
governors on
also he's
abortion.
pretty solid in immigration too.
He took big steps on abortion.
What's up?
Hey.
Wow.
DG.
DG, I had a dream about you last night.
Is someone
That's
gonna
kinda
read
weird.
that?
Get on
thing.
Cozy. You should get on Cozy. I watched Nick Fuentes' streams on there.
What are
Yeah,
your
you
guys' thoughts
should,
on
but don't
Nick
sign
Fuentes?
in because.
Wait, I'm sorry. What was that?
What are your guys' thoughts on Nick Fuentes?
He's okay.
I like him.
That's about it.
Yeah, actually, he's okay. Because on
He
his
seems
last
like a-
stream, he's saying some cringe stuff.
He
What was he
seems just
saying?
average.
I don't know. He was saying like he's just being like weird. Like I don't know.
He's always weird,
Fed
but it's
posting.
good.
I didn't see his last stream, so if someone could send me the link, that'd be cool.
Yeah, it's on Cozy. You go to replays, cozy.tv.
Yeah, but he was just like, yeah, he said like people who wear pajama pants should be. I don't even know. And then
He's right.
Terminated
AP,
or
what
like,
is-
say, like
AP, why are you obsessed with Kimberly Yee?
I'm not obsessed with Kimberly Yee. That was like one time. I just like.
we all have that one celebrity crush.
No, I don't. Well, Koopa Troop, I guess, but you could say that.
Libertarian Zoomer, do you support Joe Jorgensen?
You probably did.
Who did
No,
you
I
support in the
would-
2020 election?
Huh?
Who did you support in the 2020 election?
Donald Trump, 100%.
Epic.
Dude, I didn't like
at
Jorgensen.
At least he's a realist and he knows that a
Jorgensen's, like,
libertarian
insane.
is going to get elected.
Dude, I saw Jo Jorgensen in one of her hot takes, which was about as hot as Antarctica. It was literally, she was just like, prostitution is just the combination of sex and capitalism. I don't know about you, but I like both of those. I'm like, dude, I don't care.
Wow.
You just confused me. You confused me. That's like, you just annoyed me so much. So I didn't really like her because she just seemed obnoxious and out there. Because, yeah, I like capitalism.
She's basically just a libertarian version of Kamala Harris.
Kinda, except like, less of a hoe, like slightly, like less.
And she doesn't prosecute people for weed.
Yeah, and she isn't like racist, which is kind of surprising.
Wow.
So yeah, and she's a good actor. Not like, we did it, Joe. You're the next.
We did it.
It's like,
No, but DG hates Amy Klobuchar. That was his old senator.
She's crazy. I don't even like her just because of her rage
So,
issue. That would be,
DG could do a good impression. Do the Amy Klobuchar impression.
Oh, hold on.
I would be.
You gotta get the
do.
profile pic too.
Yeah, I gotta get the profile pic.
It's a low. You get an AFM face reveal.
You did
No way.
last.
Yes. Okay, we're going to hear the.
I am so. No, hold on. I haven't heard her in a while. Thank you for having me on the Rust Belt Boys podcast.
Oh my!
I don't know. I haven't heard her in a while.
Her voice sounds like the audible version of herpes. Like, I just don't know why. Like the worst.
So true.
Like nails on a chalkboard.
Alright, I finished the AN video. Uploading it.
Oh, really? You have?
Yeah. What should we call it?
AFM, this is your baby. You name it.
Yeah.
Yeah, AFM.
AFM gone wild. Do it.
Yeah, I don't even know what's happening. I think.
No,
was-
Spike Cohen's actually kind of based.
No, he was like Vermin Supreme. He was affiliated with Vermin Supreme, and they picked him for. They randomly selected him to be the VP, even though he was like a meme.
Yeah, he's actually pretty based though. I follow him on Twitter and YouTube and stuff. He's kind of based.
Can we talk about like, Latinx, like, or
Nobody
Latinx,
cares
that's
about
right.
that. Nobody uses it except for like woke libs. It's not even that big of a deal.
Biden's used it.
There was one time where one of my teachers used Latinx.
yeah, like my teachers used a little more here. I think it's because
Well, no, DG said we should care about the whole Eminem thing or whatever.
Yeah.
Eminem.
Well, not specifically the Eminem thing, but we should care about things like it.
Just because it pisses off Democrats, is that why?
What?
We need to destroy
You
woke
think it pisses off like libs? Is that why you wanted to do it?
No, I wrote like a paragraph about it yesterday. I don't know where it is, so I'll find it later. So what should we call the new AN video about elections, AFM?
Oh, did someone record it and edit it already?
Yeah, it's already done.
I edited it. I edited it.
Okay, it should
Yeah.
be called Why Speedwagon is a Furry. No, we're not calling it that. We're gonna call it I call it Why Elections Still Matter. Something like that.
All right, why elections still matter?
No, but guys, we're gonna throw a revolution. No, not just a revolution, guys. It's gonna be a Paleo Zoomer revolution.
So true.
Dude, next
Our
election.
fact
will be
checker said this is true.
Next election is going to be pretty interesting. 'Cause it's either going to be a huge swing to the left or a huge swing to the right. So
No, it's gonna easily in 2022 in November. It's gonna be a blowout Republican.
oh, totally, no doubt about that. But I'm talking presidential.
No, 2024 Republicans are gonna win that easily too. Trump's gonna win the popular vote if anything.
I'd be
Yeah,
worried about
I
like
agree.
millennial. I'd be worried about millennial turnout and then also minority turnout for Republicans, though, because that one seems like it's gonna be more of a turnout than even.
I doubt the Dems can get higher minority turnout in 2020.
Yeah.
Yeah, 2020
that
was
was-
max minority turnout Dems are gonna get for a
Yeah.
while.
Also, with some of the new laws in places like Georgia, there's not going to be as high turnout, which is a good thing.
If David Perdue wins, then he can get rid of auto register, and that would help.
What annoys
Yeah.
what annoys me
You
about
know what the best case scenario is, though? We like get rid of the stupid ranked choice voting in Maine. If we elect Paul LePage and we get Republicans in the state house in Maine, we can get rid of ranked choice voting there, and that'll make it a lot
I think
easier.
the state
So
house is gonna flip.
yeah, I think the state house and state senate will. Is the state senate in Maine up next year?
I think
Probably.
that might be governor. I don't remember.
No, but yeah, I think the governorship in Maine will flip at the moment with Paul LePage.
Yeah, and ranked choice
Especially
voting actually
since
doesn't
there's no-
affect governor elections.
Yeah,
Yeah, it
because
does.
there's no ranked choice voting in the governor races, which is great for us. So Paul LePage is going to win with like 48% again, which will be
My
fun.
mom hates Janet Mills.
My mom doesn't even know
Don't
who
you live
Janet
in
Mills
Michigan?
is.
Why does it? Wait, didn't your
Because
mom
she heard
ask you
something
if you
about
knew
she
like
heard
this?
something about vaccines and the Janet Mills, so she doesn't like her.
Wait, didn't your mom ask you about like this random Republican who ran in like a safe blue district?
Yeah, Errol Weber
Where was the district?
is in California.
Yeah.
He's actually running for Katie Porter's seat now.
Hey, Entep, have you heard of this Joe Collins guy? He looks so great.
No, like the person who may or may not be Buckeye's cousin who told Chris about Gen Z Patriots video.
That'd be crazy.
Did Chris ever reply? Do we know her name or no?
No, he said that he doesn't want to leak it until you give it. So I'll add you guys both to a group chat on Discord.
All right.
Cool.
Have we made a Discord server for Buckeye Politics? Like an actual like
No, my Discord is my like personal Discord, so I don't really like to use it for stuff like this, which so it kind of makes it a problem. But I might change it so it's like neutral, so it's like half Buckeye Politics, half personal. And
That's
then,
what mine is.
Yeah, I'm probably gonna do something like that. So hopefully we may get a Buckeye Politics Discord server. That actually I've considered doing that, but I have to
I've
make some
got an
changes.
AFM server, but I've only invited a couple people so far. I'm waiting to do an announcement. I'll probably do an announcement in a few days. But yeah, it's already up and running.
Yeah, so I'd eventually like to do a Discord, but I have to do some work on my account first because it's pretty much all set up to be personal. Because I really only use Discord when I play like games with my friends and stuff. So eventually, I would like to do that, but until then, we need to do a little work first.
Okay, guys, elections are important, but that doesn't mean you sit on Dave's redistricting for 3 hours a day making gerrymanders that aren't gonna ever pass. At least, okay, as much as TPC sometimes needs to touch grass, at least he actually sent his redistricting map to the Texas State Assembly. He actually did that. So he actually tried putting in a little bit of effort, but no, everyone's just like, Wyoming Democrat gerrymander, guys.
That'd be crazy if they did that. I don't know how they do that.
That'd be impressive. I would support that actually if they found a way to do that.
Yeah, that'd be crazy.
How would they though? It's like physically impossible. No, if like everyone from Atlanta moved to Wyoming, it would be a safe blue state.
What if everyone from Wyoming moved to DC and everyone from DC moved to Wyoming?
Then Wyoming would just be like a bunch of Democrat farmers, and DC would be a bunch of farmers as well, but they would have to adapt to not farming.
And it would be like both, I think, would be swing states for like it would be weird because I think that because one group was urban but now they're going rural and one's rural and they're going urban, they'd have to transition slightly to vote for the policies that would matter. I would think for like where they're at. I do think it's environmental because I don't think it's like a coincidence that rural areas are Republican and whatever happens. Because like usually when people move somewhere, unless they're Californians, typically they're policies switch a little bit.
Maybe.
I wouldn't know that.
Okay, what
All right, it's
what is your
public.
most hot take on elections? No, I mean not like, oh, is this state gonna go red or blue? No, what's your most hot take on voting? Like stuff like that. Should some areas
What do
have
you mean?
restrictions?
I'm gonna
What
tell
do you mean by that?
Only
I'll tell
men
you
should
right-
vote.
Only men should vote.
What are you
I
guys'
do-
thoughts on ranked choice voting? Is it stupid? I think it's stupid.
Ranked choice
People,
voting is
people
stupid.
should not have to spend hours researching every candidate to see who's the best.
Shouldn't they?
Yeah, I
Like,
don't
I
want to turn the ballot into a tier list.
Yeah, that'd be.
That's
That's
only-
actually
that's what it
hilarious.
does.
I
Yeah,
kind of
that's true.
it only for one reason and one reason only. I want a voter to actually know what they're voting for, because a lot of people vote Democrat just because, oh, my family voted Democrat.
Well, they're not going to do anything. People are still just going to vote that way. They're just
but
going to
still
write
gonna
in
vote that
Democrat
way.
and
They're
not.
just gonna
They're
put
not going to put in.
Democrat
You realize
number
they're
one
not
and
gonna
Green
put in a
Party number
second
two.
choice. They're not going
Libertarian
to
Party
put in
number
a
three.
second choice. People who vote Democrat aren't going to put in the second choice. They'll just write in Democrat and then just leave the rest
Yeah.
blank. And then it will just go to the Democrats. All it does is just make the counting super complicated. And it's legit no point in it.
And it'll actually hinder the counting even more than it already is hindered. Like, think about
And sure, in
it. You know how
some
long
cases
it
it
took to
might
count the
help
votes in
Republicans.
2020?
It actually would help Republicans in some cases because libertarians, most of them would write in Republican as their second choice. But it just makes elections way too complicated. And I don't think we should do it.
Agreed.
But you know what we can do with the Libertarian Party? Take it off the ballot in some swing states. What do you think the Democrats do with the Green Party? And everyone's like, oh, you can't take the Libertarians off the ballot. That's authoritarian. And it's like, yeah, Dems have been doing that with the Green Party for like decades
Exactly.
now.
But didn't like the Libertarians be like more because like they're just voting for whatever, and if Republicans did that, I think that they would actually be like, oh well, screw you guys.
If there were no Libertarians on the ballot, their reach would be they wouldn't be able to have as many votes. Most people wouldn't write in the Libertarian candidate.
I don't know.
Who's the most cringe Republican?
Congress?
Adam Kinzinger.
I would say Liz. But that's just me.
Liz Cheney's kind of cringe now, but when Trump was in office, she honestly wasn't too bad. I mean, yeah, she was bad in terms of like.
Well, she's got a more conservative voting record than the lady who replaced her, Elise
Yeah.
Stefanik.
But yeah. She's a huge social liberal.
And Trump wants
She's
to make
basically
her.
my mom. She's basically my mom, Elise Stefanik.
Except, I think she's pro-life. Is she like one
My
of
mom
those,
admits that abortion is murder.
your mom thinks? Wait, so she's okay with that then? So she's like a political chatter. Yeah, we need to get political chatter back on here. He's so fun to debate. No, I was watching one of his streams he did with his little buddy, that political memorabilia kid. So they were doing the stream. I was watching it, and they were like saying, "Oh, Trump almost ended our democracy," and it's like, it's so unfair that Hillary Clinton got more votes than Trump but still won. And I said in the comments, dude, so you think that the majority of Americans should pick a candidate when Hillary Clinton only got 48% of the vote? So she should win, even though 52% voted against her. And he was like, "Oh, it doesn't matter. She still got more votes." And it's like, still, that logic doesn't hold up. If 52% vote against her, why should she become president under your whole thing? I don't even know what it is.
Yo, we need someone to verify the phone number on AN.
I will do that. Because I've already
That AP
verified
said he
my
was
phone
gonna do
number on
that.
several channels. Okay, someone give me the username and password. I'll verify the phone number. So then we can put in thumbnails.
I'll put it in private chat.
Okay, give me a sec.
But I'm not part of the AN.
Oh yeah, you're
Yeah,
right.
because
Fine, I'll
you're
send
gonna
it to you on
kill
Twitter.
us. If it comes out that you like have the police investigate you,
Shut up. I told you not to talk about that publicly.
Says it in front of 9 people on a live stream.
I'm
Publicly.
sorry, dude, but you ask why you can't be let in front of people. I gotta tell them the real reason. I'm not gonna
Yo,
lie.
what's your name right now? Is it still the Joe Manchin thing? Joe Manchin.
Yes, it is Joe
You
Man.
really
It
need
is
to pick
the
like
Joe
a permanent
Manchin
name.
version.
Yeah,
Because,
I know.
You
listen,
really need to pick a permanent name.
no, this is my new name because, as we know, the best way to be successful on Twitter is to take the name of a politician, slap project at the end of it to make you sound professional.
It's your name for like 2 weeks.
Okay, I'm gonna do a challenge. See if I can hold this name for 2 weeks.
Wow.
Okay.
No, but I got
Hard
this from the Calvin Coolidge project. He acts like he's like this professional guy, but he's just like this like 16-year-old in his basement. Well, to be honest, that's what I am.
So true.
Yeah, I just came down here because it's quieter, but yeah, most of the time I'm not in my basement. Surprisingly.
I'm done.
Who's the most cringe conservative on election Twitter? I think it's probably that Aaron Rodgers fan, formerly Mike Gallagher fan, formerly before that Jared Golden fan.
Yeah.
But do you remember when he tweeted out asking like a porn star for pics in the DMs?
Bro.
Eh?
I remember when he liked a bunch of those a bunch of pics. I think,
No,
I think
there was like
Basement
this
Talk
fun
has
bot
posted that.
asking, and they were like, click this button
Maybe
to
it was Jared
receive
Golden fan
a
Alex.
DM pic or something.
It's kind of whack.
Yeah, Joe Biden's approval is going to fall even further. It's going to be like, he's the most unpopular president since Bush at this point.
Yeah.
It's hilarious.
I think Biden's
Well,
going to
it
be
It's
in
hasn't
the
like
really
20s by the midterms.
a year ago, Democrats thought Ohio was in play. Today, we're questioning whether Colorado is.
I'm questioning whether Washington's in play.
Yeah.
Illinois is by this time in November.
Are there any good Senate candidates for Illinois?
Me.
Mark Kirk, though.
Mark Kurt's not going to run.
He could, though.
If
do
Republicans
whatever he
actually
puts his mind
fund
to.
like Mark Curran, if Republicans actually funded Mark Curran's campaign, I think it could be pretty close.
Mark Cuban, guys. Mark
So
Dice.
Mark Curran was the Senate nominee in 2020, and he got no funding from the RNC, but he still overperformed Trump by 1.5 points,
Nice.
even with no funding. So I think he's a pretty good candidate.
And
And Dick
he was
Durbin's
running against Dick Durbin, who was pretty popular.
And
He won
Dick
by
Durbin got a
14 in 20.
shitload
He
of
won by
funding.
a safe margin in 2014 when Republicans won the governor.
No, he won by like 10. He got a bad showing for a Democrat in Illinois in 2014. He got like he only won by
The
like 11.
Republicans won the governor, and they won a Senate race just 4 years ago. So I
Well,
thought
no,
it was a good showing.
2010 was just like the Democrats in Illinois were just like in disarray because like just a year before one of the their governor had gotten arrested for like for money problems. Now that guy's a Republican apparently. He was on Tucker Carlson the other day.
Was he actually?
Yeah.
Did Trump free him from prison?
What?
Did Trump free him from prison?
Yeah, he did. He was in prison for a while. No, but I'm tired of these Illinois Democrats switching parties because now we can't call out the Illinois Democrats for being super.
Why don't you call it the Idaho Democrats?
The Idaho Democrats, the GQP, and Glenn Youngkin. No, did you guys see there was like a fake story that Glenn Youngkin banned gay marriage or something? There was like
there was a bill that it was like something about gay marriage rights, and it actually expanded gay marriage rights.
Yeah, and it passed the state senate, but it said but someone in a tweet said act to ban gay marriage passes state senate or something. And like all these Democrats in the replies were like, Youngkin is a far-right fascist, guys. We told you.
Let's go.
Yep. Like, okay, I gotta get going, But yes,
Sad.
so everyone go subscribe to America First Mapping.
Go subscribe to NTEP Politics channel. Give
All
me
your
the phone.
guys' social media accounts will be in the pinned comment of the video. Go subscribe to
Okay,
them.
but
Yeah, give me the 40 subs,
okay,
please.
if you disagree with any of my content, though, I will go in the comments and call you a socialist. Even if you're like disagree because I'm not far right enough, I will still call you a socialist.
Why?
Because socialism,
Might be a socialist, but
communism,
definitely a
no, because
communist.
socialism, communism, call it what you like. There's very little difference in the two. So, thank you guys.
So true.
Um,
It's actually
for
communism,
having me
socialism.
on the stream. If you don't let me on again, if you guys don't let me on again, I'm gonna make you guys the next the purple predictor is gonna be coming back. That's all I'm saying. I've got a bunch of unused alts. So. Yeah, if you don't know what the purple predictor is, continue touching grass and don't try looking it up because you're gonna become like a Discord mod. You're not. It's basically
True.
It's basically what people who don't touch grass talk about. So.
Interesting.
Alrighty. What do you guys want to talk about now?
Well, let's. Okay, I like how quiet it is. I have no idea. I like because usually right now I was planning debate. I wasn't really planning on talking about
Yeah.
the infrastructure bill. Like the infrastructure bill, I only talked for about a minute. What is everybody else's take on it? I mean, we have more people now.
It's gonna hurt rural America a lot with all
Yeah.
those taxes in it.
And
Unnecessary items.
there's no infrastructure there. There's like 9%,
Yeah,
I think it was.
9%
That was
infrastructure.
yeah.
Yeah, I said there's 80% Green New Deal stuff as it is.
I'd be fine if there actually was like an infrastructure bill that helped people.
I mean,
However,
I
that
don't
is
really
not
think
what this is.
it's the right time for that. Anyways,
Yeah.
Like-
Right now is definitely not the right time. There's bigger issues to focus on.
Yeah.
Mainly
Especially if you're the
because-
party that thinks that COVID's like this much of a threat. Why are you spending $1 trillion on a infrastructure bill?
What makes no sense to me is just the chaos. Here's what happened. They hyped it up. I don't know why, but they hyped up all this chaos. Be like, oh, look how bad Trump is, and oh, all death. And then there's 3 times more deaths over the course of a year. And now it's like, okay, what are we gonna do now? There's only 200,000. Now Biden's gotten an office. There's 600,000. What are we gonna do about that? But nobody talks about it. It's was this ever important to you, or was it important because because now these people don't even know what are they don't have CNN's losing. They have no argument, concrete, no solidity to anything they have to argue now. Anything they say that Biden does wrong. A lot of these Democrats too. On TikTok, have you guys seen? Forgot his name, but he's just he's actually blah, 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 all that. It's typical Democrat or something, or whatever. I don't know. I'll send you one of the videos later, but he literally I'd be fine if you were pointing out what Joe Biden did was good. I mean, we should all celebrate when the president does something good, but he has he always it's borderline. I think he has a crush on Joe Biden because he just keeps covering for everything Joe Biden does. This woman's just look at all these empty shelves. I mean, clearly they're not all empty, right? But he's just look at this. I live in a small town. There's only a few thousand people in this town. I've never seen empty shelves like this. What's with the supply chain crisis? This is Biden's America. And he's just yeah, well, things might not be 100% stocked. It's yeah, but 75% of the stuff is gone, and she lives in a small town. That's what he's getting at. Not that it's Biden's fault that everyone plots that supply chain issues still happening, and we're not getting anything done for it.
So true.
Playing the bongos, DG.
Wait, what? No, I'm just tapping my mic. I didn't really
Oh,
pick that
it
up.
sounds like you're playing drums. Like
Oh.
actually,
Actually, I was tapping
Yeah.
like the bottom of my mic. It was kind of weird, but I wasn't tapping the mic part. Tapping like its stand. Interesting.
What are your guys' biggest hot takes on anything?
Anything?
Women
Give me something
should not
spicy.
be allowed to vote.
Polygamy
So
should
true. Ooh, did you say legal or illegal?
be legal. I don't want to
Oof.
partake, but I think that other people, if they want to, should for like religious reasons and stuff. Like it is freedom of expression and all that. So I don't see that. See how hot that take was? Everyone just went silent. Like,
Yeah, I
Yeah,
did
that was
not
a hot
expect
take.
you to say that.
oh really? Like I thought,
No.
yeah, no, I'm all about freedom of expression. I think people should be able to, it's like if everyone's consenting. I'm not talking about marrying babies. I'm talking about literally like a bunch of consenting adults being like, hey, you know what? I'm down with this. You're down with this. I don't think it, and also government, I don't know why they don't do it because it's like a better excuse for like tax dollars. Would be a pain, but it'd still be like, again, you know what you're getting into if you do that. So, just my hottest take. What's anyone got to say about that?
I don't know about that. Polygamy is kind of. I would not support polygamy, but I mean,
Well, but what do you have to do with it? Like, how are you involved in any of that?
I guess I'm not, but
Because it degrades the society's moral fabric.
yeah, if all we do, if we let a bunch of people just marry each other, the divorce rate's probably gonna go up because people are just gonna do it for sex, and they're not really gonna
Are
like.
you
I'm sure there'll be some such scenarios when polygamy would actually lead to good things, but I think the vast majority of polygamy examples would just be a bunch of people who want to have sex with a bunch of people.
I'm not saying like go out there and like, yo, marry more than one person. But it's like, for example, there's people that have gotten divorced and like it turns out it doesn't go through the system. And later on, it's like, well, again, they actually get court because then the government's like, no, you didn't properly divorce this person. And then it's like a whole legal issue when that shouldn't really be the case. I don't think it really matters. Obviously, that's just a certain case, so I'll go into another one. As much as I don't like it, don't like Eastern culture as a whole. If you're in America, you have a right to have freedom of expression. You have a right to do whatever you want to do, and their culture is very hyper. Like marry as many women, have kids. Even in the Christian, like in the Catholic Bible, it literally says like a bunch of stuff about like wives and stuff. And stuff how you can like if you're in a country of war or something and I'm gonna simplify it. If you're in a country of war and you're fighting in this war and you see some attractive woman that you want to make your wives, then you have the right to do so and you conquer. So there's a bunch of stuff and promotes it. So I don't know if God said it, supposedly if God said that, then I think that we shouldn't worry about our moral fabric because I think it'll be fine. It's in God's hands now.
Interesting take.
Yeah.
I'm not very prepared to prepared to negate it, but maybe eventually.
Me and Doingus will probably debate it. We'll probably debate it next week if we do.
Yeah.
Oh, that'd be crazy.
He's probably listening to this right now and just leaving like, this guy hates America. Like he's gonna be like on me about that next week probably.
So true.
My approval rate in Utah is high.
Yeah.
What are your guys' thoughts on Mormonism?
I think it's really stupid. I think
I think it's dumb.
Dude, I want to take like if the Democrats, those re-education camps they suggested, like if they were about Mormons, I would have just turned a blind eye, like Maine was to the FDR camps. I would have just been like, yeah, okay, you can do it. Because here's the thing, let me tell you a little Mormon story because I've read a bit of the Book of Mormon. Okay, so basically this is how the religion started. This guy, I forgot his name, but he's like the creator.
Joseph Smith.
Yeah, Joseph Smith, that's his name. Very basic name. So that's already like a red flag. He goes around and then he says, "Oh, God led me to these golden tablets. I can read them." And people are like, "Great, let's see them." And he's like, "Well,
No.
God,
Lol, no.
you can't see them because your eyes are impure. But I can actually write it down and then give it to you guys." And then everyone was like, "Okay." And then they were just like, so then he literally, went to this blacksmith, I think, was just like, "Hey, okay, so I'm gonna need you to like help me like read this or something, like, but I'm gonna need you to like write down everything while I read it. Okay, this is a new religion. God's talking to me, right?" Which now today would be considered insane. So basically, he's just like, the guy's like, "Great, so what can I do?" He's like, "Well, you can't see them. So what I'm gonna do is I'm gonna hide
I gotta
them."
go.
All
Okay,
right, see ya.
see ya.
Goodbye.
And he's like, "I'm gonna hide them and I'm gonna read them like right here." So I think it was like he stuck his head in a hat or something stupid and just started reading them, which is very weird. And then he was just like telling him to write down, right? And everybody in that story was really retarded. Like I was like, wow, they just blindly like, had faith for this dude. So they continued, and then like later he's just like, whatever, and the blacksmith shows his wife or something, right? And she's just like, "Okay," and she takes it and she hides it. She's just like, "If this guy's right, then he should get it right again, exactly to every single word." So then he goes back, he's like, "Hey, my wife's being a bitch," right? So then he's just like, "Oh, it's fine, it's fine. God told me that was gonna happen, so because she's a female or something, he changed it up, but it'll be almost exact." And then I was like, "Oh my God." Like, so then he continued and like he redid it or whatever. And then, she was, since it was like very close to the original thing, she was caught for like blasphemy or something. And then she was like arrested or like, sent to death, something stupid. And yeah, that's basically how Mormonism started. That's like the gist.
Mormonism is so weird.
It is. I don't get how people can live in Utah. To this day, I'm still confused about that.
Yeah, it's like trying to live in Nevada. I mean,
Nevada?
if it's like the
Well, at least
desert.
Nevada has casinos and like mines and stuff.
No, Nevada has military bases. That's what they have. They have military
They have
bases.
Area 51.
They have mines too.
They have mines, yeah, and most people are surprised about that. And yeah, obviously casinos in Vegas, but Nevada's like that very weird state in US politics. Like it's a tilt margin. It always could easily flip, but it never does for the past like 4 elections.
Yeah, I went on this like this site that would show you who like your ancestors were or something, because I had my like great grandpa's name and I wanted to find out, and that was the only website that it said it was free, but it was only free for members of the Mormon Church. So I was super mad about that because I wanted to see that, and every other site I had to pay for.
Why didn't you just like pretend to be Mormon or something?
Yeah, well, I think there's like a
It's like a registry you have to.
Who else hates the IRS?
I do.
Me.
Yeah. Same with Social
Taxation
Security.
is theft.
Oh my God, that's so awesome. That is unbelievably based.
We should abolish the FBI, CIA, ATF, and IRS.
Yeah, and the NSA. You can't forget about the NSA.
Oh yeah, and the NSA.
Like that would be my first thing. If I was to go into office, I would have only like my only 2 executive orders I'd want is to make every single gun legal as long as you have the right, background checks and all that. You're not criminal. And then to like also, abolish the NSA. That's my main thing is the NSA because it is a constitutional violation. Same with gun rights. Like there's no excuse for it other than, oh, the terrorists. I don't care about the terrorists. The terrorists could kill me and my family, but you're not going to tread on my rights, Like there's a line that has been crossed when you now are spying on me, Like we all, have our personal lives. We have private lives. We don't need you spying on us through our phones and through our computers and through eventually I think it's going to be through our toasters, but that's just me. Like, I think it's going to be so advanced. I mean, they're making high-tech refrigerators, and I know it's going to happen from that. It's just going to be like an extra, oh, well, we can spy on you through your refrigerator now, which will be weird to hear, but it'll be true. And yeah, no, I just don't support any sort of government violation of my rights, my, family's rights, any of that.
Mm-hmm. And the other thing is, it's not even about foreign terrorists anymore. Now they're changing the phraseology to like domestic terrorist. You're a domestic terrorist.
Which
You
basically
can't even
translates
go on a
to
flight.
conservative.
Yeah, Tulsi said some stuff on it. She was like, that is completely insane. She's like, it is authoritarian to be like, people are domestic terrorists that don't agree with my policies. She's like, not even Trump did that. And that's why I really have like high respect for her. Because she's what the Democrats should be. She isn't like, I'm not hype about her.
A left-wing populist, which is
like
it's better than what they are now.
Yeah, I'm not crazy about her. Like, like she's got her own Green New Deal stuff about her, but like at least she has some sort of patriotism for America. At least she cares about the people. At least she served in our military.
Mm-hmm.
She
She's
actually
anti-establishment.
Even when she was in Congress, she was still in the Hawaii National Guard.
Yeah, like she still is. She still is. So it's like I actually, if you remember my poll I did?
Yeah, I believe so. Yeah.
If I was going to vote in that, chaotic election, I would vote for Tulsi and Rand Paul because they're two of my favorites. Like, they're free thinkers. They, actually pretty much care about America. Like, they actually, you can see it. And I'd know DeSantis would win, but I definitely want to be part of the people that made at least Tulsi appear in the electoral map.
Yeah.
And yeah, I don't know. Because people out here, I don't know about Ohio, but people out here are definitely like, there's a lot of people that were supporting Tulsi out here. So
Ohio doesn't have many Tulsi supporters. I used to be a big Tulsi supporter, actually. When I first got into politics, like 2017, 2018-ish, I was a big fan of Tulsi Gabbard. But
what changed your mind?
Listening to conservative radio with my dad.
My dad had conservative radio.
Yeah, and talking to my grandpa, because he used to be like a union leader. So my dad kind of made me more socially conservative, and then my grandpa, who used to be a union leader, kind of made me more populist. And then eventually, over the course of 3-4, it's almost been 5 years, because it was like 2016, 2017-ish when I first started getting into politics a little bit. So now I'm pretty much a right-wing populist.
My question is, what was it like when you were socially liberal? Because I cannot picture that at all.
Yeah, I wasn't too social liberal. I was more social libertarian. I was just like, I don't know how to put it. I was always pro-life. I'll state that. I've always been pretty far right on abortion. But
same for sure.
Yeah, I was pretty supportive of gay rights, and I like very supportive of gay rights. Not like overly so, but definitely more than your average probably conservative or centrist. I was more liberal on that. Environment was my biggest issue though. I supported a Green New Deal type thing, and not necessarily the Green New Deal because I thought that was kind of crazy, but a little watered down version. I used to support something like that. Like the Paris Climate Accord, I was a big supporter of that. I wrote an essay on it in like 6th grade.
Damn, you just
maybe like 7th grade. I don't know. It's during middle school. I wrote an essay for English and why we should stay in the Paris Climate Accord. So yeah, I was really far left on the environment, and then everything else was just kind of like center left, libertarian-ish. And then yeah.
My family.
I can also answer that question. I specifically was like a big supporter of gay and trans, all that stuff.
Yeah, I was a huge supporter of that stuff like 3, 4, 5 years ago.
But the reason because of it was mainly because I was fed stuff by either my school, the media, YouTube videos, where they paint gay and trans people as like as the victim, and I'd be like, the victim. I'd be like, well, why can't they just be gay and trans? That's perfectly fine. And I didn't really think too hard about it. I just went along with whatever I was told. So that's basically what I think most people who support that. That's their line of thinking.
My issue with the left movement of it is literally just like you're a victim. You'll never accomplish all that. It's just like I don't want to deal with all this. I just want normal. And like it pushes a lot of people away to the point where like 45% of the LGBT community, I think it was like a statistic I saw, voted for Trump in 2020. It's pushing people away, and this is actually a demographic that can change swing states. It could have probably flipped Michigan and was not Michigan, probably more like Wisconsin this election. Like it could have actually been like pretty interesting. Same with Arizona or Nevada. Like it could have, and Georgia. Like if the Republicans gain momentum there and just trying to stay like socially moderate, even like slightly right wing socially. Like a Glenn Youngkin, even though he said like he doesn't like gay marriage, he did say it was legally acceptable. So like it's just like he doesn't personally support it, but it doesn't really like it more of actually supports their rights. So I'm like, I don't really care. Like that's how like a normal Republican should be. Like Glenn Youngkin, DeSantis, like I like their type of Republicanism because it's more just about freedom. Like it isn't about like, how George Bush is, where it's just like where Bush literally said "fuck diplomacy." Like I don't like that. But everything else mostly I like about the Republican Party, and it's way better than the Democrat Party, who, like I said earlier, it's almost like they're trying to destroy this nation. Like, and my family, like Buckeye knows, my family came here from war-torn countries, like not 40, probably like more than that. My dad was ranting. Probably like 60, 70 years ago, or yeah, maybe 80. So like when you see the same stuff repeating, it's kind of like, and it's on both sides, but like the Republicans are at least somewhat normal. They aren't like going to be like crazy. They're about everyone just living their lives at this point, which is better than the Democrats can say. So yeah, that's my take. If anyone has any problems with my hot take, that's all good.
It's not much of a. I mean, that's a little hot take. I'd prefer Republicans to be more socially conservative for sure. There's a lot of ground. A lot of people are actually still very socially conservative. What I think is interesting about America compared to the rest of the West is how socially conservative we as a country are compared to like Canada or a lot of Europe, because we're a lot more white working class and we're a lot more religious, which makes us more socially conservative. So I just think it's interesting to look at like how the rest of the West has gone full on neoliberal, sometimes even a little further left than that. And here we are, we're pretty much just stuck in sort of that neoconservative, neoliberal kind of middle ground. So America is still very socially conservative. So I don't see a reason to go socially liberal at this point. All we do is lose more support with our base. And there's plenty of socially conservative Democrats out there, as we've seen from our wins in the Rust Belt in 2016 and even parts of like Ohio in 2020. So yeah, I think that maybe we should go in some issues. Unfortunately, we have to go with the times, but we do have to stand our ground on most issues, because if we don't, then all we're going to do is slowly become more and more social liberal until eventually we're going to look like the UK or Germany or Canada, where the Conservative Party is like center left, even just left in general. So
well, what's going to have to happen is there is going to be a realignment, because like we were talking about earlier, there is a lot of support for I think that the Republican Party should just be socially moderate to right leaning. I don't think that it should be any more or any less. I think that it should just be a party that's all like, you know what, we don't really care what you do. It should be more constitutionalist, if you know what I mean, like just like, founded on freedom of expression, freedom to do what you want as long as you don't harm anybody else, like
yeah,
like
I
not
I
like
understand that, but
not quite libertarian. Like there will still be some taxes, obviously, but like, you know, definitely something close to it. Because otherwise they are going to start losing votes. I mean, it's just not working.
yeah.
This generation is too chaotic. So we need somebody that will actually like be like, I'm trying to say like relatable, but not, I think more like, agreeable, and also inspire voters to actually get out there. Like very, I don't know the word, but you know what I mean. Like, but most of the GOP isn't like that. Like the only one I can think of would really be DeSantis. Like there's not really any that I think Gen Z really hypes up other than DeSantis. Like, because maybe it's just because he's the most well known out of all of them. I mean, he is America's most popular governor at the moment.
Yeah.
So maybe it's that, but I think it's just because, ooh, DeSantis cool,
Yeah, what are your thoughts on DeSantis or Trump in 2024?
I do. Here's the thing. Trump is kind of like, even though he's not like senile or like has dementia yet, Trump is a lost cause at this point. We have a lot of probably people that will still, no matter what, be like never Trumpers. Like, for example, like, it didn't LTE say he was like Republican or something before?
Yeah.
Yeah. Like, we have Republicans like that who are like,
LTE's not a Republican. I mean, he can say, sure, that he was, but that was like 4 years ago. And
yeah. And it got to the point where it's like we have a lot of Republicans like that. And I saw this poll the other day where it was like, even now, lots of people don't want Trump. Like they said, like, there was one chunk, it was probably like 30% that said they would vote for Trump. And this was like pretty much nationwide across most states. It was just like, whatever. It was put on Fox News websites, CNN, like everyone took part in it pretty much. And like 30% said they wanted Trump. Only like 15% they said they would vote for Biden. And the remaining literally said they would vote for literally anyone else but the two. So it's got it. Nobody, both of those candidates, Biden, Trump, Mike Pence, just in general, like he doesn't seem like he could actually be that strong of a candidate. And Kamala Harris, all of them suck, and we cannot have any of them run, or else neither of them will win. And you'll see something similar to 2016, where you just see a lot of like larger than usual third party turnout. Like, and then you're gonna see like a 10%, probably not 10%, you know what I mean, like 7% or something, like libertarian and like 3% green. Like, and that will really cause chaos in the electoral map, and I'm pretty sure people don't want that. So, I don't want to see like Illinois in like a lean margin. That would be very irritating. So let's just like try to not do that, and let's try to get good candidates in, like actually.
yeah.
I would say like I really want to see a DeSantis ticket, like with like Glenn Youngkin as the like those are my two favorite governors. If I could just see them run together, like DeSantis Youngkin 2024, that would that would garner a lot of support. And for Democrats, I don't know. Like I would love to see like Tulsi Gabbard and Andrew Yang, like a Gabbard Yang ticket. That would be interesting. But again, Green New Deal stuff. I just like Yang for being anti-AI. Like that's the main thing.
Yeah.
It's pretty epic.
Yeah, no, it's those tickets that would actually be genuinely interesting to actually take part in. But we don't have that. We don't have good politicians anymore because, I mean, I said it earlier. I'll say it again. You just have to be the lesser evil nowadays. It doesn't matter if you get anything done. And the Senate, since things are going to be so divided, like in the next 10 years, I really want to see what that will be like. That will be very interesting to see the Senate. And I highly doubt for like the next 3 or 4 presidential elections in that time, we will actually like see a trifecta. Like it will be a long time before we get like, a party gets the House, the Senate, and the governorship and the presidency, Like
You don't think it'll happen 2024?
No, I don't think so.
Really?
I think that it'll go back, at least for governors. I think if it does go, it will go back like just narrowly, or it'll be a 50-50 split with like 25 governors that are Democrats or something weird.
That's a hot take.
Yeah, that is a hot take.
Yeah. I think that, because here's the thing, everyone like mocked LTE for saying like Georgia would go blue, but then it did. So, it's just like, you never know. I mean, but LTE says everything will go blue. He's like, oh, Tennessee could be interesting. Like, no, it won't. He like, so, I don't think Tennessee will have a 5-point margin. But yeah, no, he's like, but this whole thing, I don't think. I mean, the House will probably be still Republican, but I think it will narrow up a bit just because, like, it will be stagnant. Biden won't be doing anything. So then it'll be like, okay, because he won't be able to get anything done. You need a House vote, you need a Senate vote. So I think that, probably 2 out of 3 will be Republican run. And then what's going to happen is then Biden's not going to be able to do anything. So then it's going to, drop, and support against Biden. And then it's going to be like basically support against Democrats. And then it's going to be pretty close in like 2024. And then from then on, it'll just be chaotic. That's what I think would happen. If anyone has anything like questions about that, I can go more in depth, but yeah.
Oh, I mean, fair enough. I do think the Republicans will be good for the governorships, though. I mean, as long as we keep at least 1 or 2 northeastern governorships, we're going to gain more, hopefully, in Pennsylvania and Michigan. So I doubt the governorships are going to be 25. And same with the Senate. Democrats are making gains in like Georgia, Arizona, and like possibly. I mean, if you look at the map, where are Democrats going to pick up any more seats in the Senate? I mean, maybe Texas, but that's a long shot. Meanwhile, you have all these states that are turning Republican.
North Carolina,
possibly North Carolina, but that's 1, 2, maybe 3 seats if they're lucky. So, and then you look at the Republicans, and we have 2 seats in Michigan, a seat in Wisconsin, a seat in Pennsylvania, 2 seats in Arizona, a seat in Nevada, at least 2 seats in Nevada. A lot of these places that are trending Republican are just have a lot of Democratic senators. So 10 years from now, we could see all those seats in the Rust Belt and parts of Nevada. Maybe we can flip one back in Arizona. There's plenty of room for Republicans to grow in the Senate. And in the House, there's just not. I mean, not the House. For Democrats in the Senate, there's just not anywhere that they can really make gains. And meanwhile, we have the Rust Belt, then a lot of the Southwest.
Yeah, that's pretty fair. I'm so like this election in 2020 was chaotic as hell. So I've just kind of learned that our politicians don't really care. Like, and you guys, you know what I got a theory of on if Trump's gonna run or not? I don't think he will. I think he will run, but I don't think he will actually like run. If you know what I mean. Like he won't make it to the whole thing. What he's gonna do is he's gonna hype it up. He's gonna be like, yeah, I'm gonna be running, and then like last minute he's gonna mention something about like the rigged elections, which there are, but like and then he's just gonna take that money and run. Like
2020 was the most free and fair election in American history. YouTube.
I would probably say I'd disagree with that. No, like there's no such thing as a free and fair election anymore. I think that the billionaires pretty much control on who's going to do better, because after every single election, all their stocks pretty much go up. I mean, in 2020 they stabilized, but that was only because of COVID. So like I think that they kind of choose, because no one's going to do a census around the nation just being like, oh, who did you vote for, and actually do the math.
Well, yeah, I'm sure billionaires and people in the media have a lot of sway in elections, but 2020 was very free and fair.
Very free, very fair.
I don't know. I mean, I don't like.
Mike, you can check the private chat real quickly.
Private? You can't. Oh. Okay.
Yeah. I completely agree with everything you just said, but we do have to add that little caption every now and then.
Okay.
We have to be a little cautious. So.
I do not represent Buckeye or what he believes. Okay, like he is a free thinker.
Yeah, other small channels in our community have gotten deleted for saying stuff like that. So
yeah, you were acting really weird. I was like, what?
Yeah, yeah.
Like, but yeah, no. Fuck. Let me make this up. Eat the rich. Eat the
so
rich.
True.
Eat the
Yeah.
rich.
Isn't
it bad that we live in a society like that though? Like I'm gonna just
no, it is very sad. I seriously,
Yeah.
I wish we could. I mean, we can talk about all that stuff. We just have to add that little 2020 was the most free and fair election, like caption at the end. But
I was so confused.
yeah,
I was like,
no. I wish we could talk about all that stuff,
Yeah.
but like, the larger a channel I become, the higher the risk that someone
Yeah.
on YouTube's gonna see us talking about that stuff. So
that is
So
true.
true.
God, sorry about that.
no, you're good. It's not gonna nothing's gonna happen over this. But yeah, just we gotta be a little careful every now and then.
Oh my God. God. So, what's anybody else's hot takes? I've already talked about like a bunch of stuff like polygamy and stuff. So, I feel like it's fair.
Yeah. What are your thoughts on foreign policy? In Ukraine. I'll go first. I think that I don't think Russia's gonna invade Ukraine. Honestly,
So true.
I'd be surprised if they did because yeah, I think that this is just to draw attention away from whatever's happening. And I mean, Putin's very smart. He knows what he's risking if he does invade Ukraine. And I think if Russia does invade, well, I'll put it this way: if Russia invades Ukraine, there's two options. The first one is that we go full on in and start World War III, which I'm opposed to, and the second one is we do absolutely nothing and let Ukraine fall, because I think Ukraine could put up a good fight, especially now that their ground forces have been much better equipped, and we've given them lots of equipment, lots of missiles, lots of tanks and
Yeah.
stuff. The Ukrainian army is a much different army than back in 2014 when Russia first bothered doing any of this stuff. But still, Russia has complete air and naval superiority. So as much as it would be a much fiercer fight, but in the end, I think that Russia would manage to conquer Ukraine. And honestly, what the most likely option to happen if that happened, in my opinion, is Biden just says Russia stop, and then puts a random sanction on there, and then we all kind of just move on and we draw the map to incorporate Ukraine into Russia. That's honestly what's gonna happen.
What? Okay. Oh wait, are you done or no?
No, I'm done.
Okay. Well, basically, my take on it is literally just this. I don't think that because here's the thing. I think we shouldn't get involved in all. I think that if Russia's going to invade Ukraine, they're going to invade Ukraine. I don't really like Ukraine. I want to be real with you. I've never been there. Don't really care. Not going to want to go there. And the places that are getting invaded are culturally and like ethnically Russian.
Yeah.
They speak Russian. They, I mean, it's so ridiculous. I'm like, some of them have even voted to be part of Russia, and Ukraine's like, no, we're not going to give them that win. Like, so I'm just kind of like, I don't really care. Like, just let them.
True.
They're like, the places they're going to invade aren't even going to be like, and I don't know, does YouTube support Russia or Ukraine? Which do they?
I don't really know. It doesn't really matter.
Ukraine, for sure.
Okay.
Ukraine.
Yeah. Okay. Well, okay. I don't represent Buckeye, so just keep that in mind.
However, I don't think that they will ban.
Yeah, they're not
going
to care about this stuff. They only care about the election stuff.
Yeah. So, anyway, my take on Ukraine is literally this. Like, in general, anything going on internationally, we should be isolationist until there is no way out. Until countries are threatening us, holding our people hostage, then we get involved. But what we've seen, because Rome was trying to be the police of the world for a bit, and then they fell. But also, they let in a bunch of immigrants. You remember the Goths, and everyone's sympathized.
Oh yeah.
Everyone sympathized, and then well, what happened? How could they have invaded? So I don't know. That's YouTube just in general, and then Ukraine on top of that. Like, I don't know if we should. Like, I would be scared. But I'm just gonna say it. Like, I don't really care, and I low key part of me supports Russia in this one, but I wouldn't ever have the U.S. fund Russia.
No.
Yeah.
So I would just be more like, you know what, Russia, do your thing. I don't really care, and this is like between y'all. And Ukraine has European Union support, so whatever happens, the EU can just easily just take care of this. It will not be.
The EU is so weak, though. It's not even funny.
Yeah, I know.
If we ever got into World War III, we would be so screwed. Like, if World War III happened tomorrow, we would be so screwed. It'd literally be us, and then it'd basically just be us against the whole all of our enemies. Europe would do absolutely nothing.
Yeah, no,
True.
like that's why I'm also isolationist. I'm like, you know what? I wouldn't even help Europe, because I would just be like, even as much as I want to see them stay capitalist, I want to see them stay free. They got to learn how to fight for themselves. Like Norway, what are they going to do? Like, let's just be realistic here. What are they going to do? They have a population close to Illinois, I think.
Probably even less.
Probably even, yeah. Like, I know their like largest city isn't even like 1 million people. It's not even like 500,000. So they are like, they're not going to do anything. And then if we got to go against China, which by the way has an army about the size of the entire US population, we are so screwed. We would need to have, like, for that to happen, I'm talking every single person in the United States would have to register in the army, no matter what age, anything, like disabilities or not, which would obviously be unreasonable. So then there would have to be the draft. We'd have to get Canada to somehow do it, and they're weak too. Like, they only got a population comparable to California, and anything that's similar to California usually is weak. And Canada, culturally and population-wise, is, so it's pretty bad. You get that mixed in there. I mean, we would literally, like you said, we would be on our own. We would.
Well, Australia would help us.
No, they wouldn't.
Australia is really weak. Australia let a Chinese naval vessel go into their largest harbor in Sydney, and their military couldn't do anything about it.
And also on top of that, Australia is turning so authoritarian. Like, if you've checked them,
true.
I
have seen that.
So they would just go against us. They wouldn't be a help to China either. In fact, they'd probably encourage them to help us just so they could, bring us down. But like, I don't think that China would really be much use to us in any sort of scenario, just because, I mean, again, they're like 1% of the world population. So imagine how small their military must be. Like, that's.
And then here's a thing I'll say about the Ukraine thing. If some intervention happened there, it would obviously be terrible. But that's a good thing, kind of, for us, because the current administration is not. They'd end up being even less popular than they already are, and I don't think that it would have any super lasting damage on us. So it would be kind of a win either way, frankly.
Yeah, like, I don't know. I think that we should just, like, personally, at least for me, I would give up on Ukraine. Like, I don't even care. I don't really necessarily care about Ukraine, because they're just that country that's like there, and like once in a while they'll like start some stuff with the United States that are like, oh, we'll pay for the Paris Climate Agreement. Same with Germany. Like, those countries could literally fall, and I don't think it would affect the U.S. at all. And that's what we should really focus on, our citizens first, before we go into like, international affairs. Because I'm kind of okay with, serving human rights and all that, but when you're literally having people burning down entire cities, I don't think you should really be focusing on the entire world. And I hate to sound like Jordan Peterson, but I got to clean your room first. Like, it's true. Clean up your own mess. Once you get all your stuff together, then help everybody else out. But until then, you're pretty useless. Like, picture like someone mentally insane trying to be a therapist. Like, it just wouldn't work. That's what we basically are. We're insane. We have a bunch of issues, and also just social issues dividing people right now, especially the news. And I think that's
not unified.
That's
and we don't have a common culture or anything. We should not be helping.
That's a bigger issue than, oh no, Russia might invade Ukraine. Like, I really don't care. I wouldn't even supply Ukraine anything. I would just leave it. I would leave it, let them take care of it. They probably will manage it pretty well. Like, whatever happens, happens. And Russia is not a global power. I don't care what anyone says. Russia's not. We can say it is, but like, they've gotten so weak. The only thing they got on us is that they have the biggest nuke in the world, which no one will ever use. If there's a World War III, there will not be nukes. There will never be nukes. Because everyone will know what'll happen to that.
True. Everyone will die.
Yeah. Anyway, off of that grim topic, shit.
Yeah.
What do we talk about? Because I went off track a bit. So what are we going to talk about?
I don't know. It's up to you guys.
Well, I suggested stuff. We did that. Did Koopa?
GG, any thoughts?
Yeah.
Not really.
All right, I guess we can take anyone in chat have any questions. If not, I guess we can just end it.
Yeah.
I don't really want to, but we don't have much else to talk about. So I guess we'll answer some questions from chat and see what happens.
God, this is so painfully awkward. Whatever.
Yeah, I know.
um.
We'll give chat like another 30 seconds, and then I think we're gonna call it a day.
Remember, Harris compared January 6th to Pearl Harbor and 9/11.
That was very cringe. Anyone who unironically thinks that is just so stupid.
I don't know. I'd like. Oh no, it died. Crime.
Who has a siren in their background?
Surprisingly, not me.
Oh, that's mine.
Are you okay?
No, I'm not. I'm dying.
Oh, that's an L. Maybe you should just like,
Yeah.
I don't know, get out of there.
Revitalize yourself.
Yeah.
Not. The only way that I can be revived is if someone grabs my reboot card, and there's no one near me. So I'm just content with my death. Whatever.
All right. Yeah. Fair enough. We all die someday.
Yeah.
Yeah.
You know.
If I do die, tell AFM. I don't know. Tell him something stupid.
All right.
Okay.
I will.
I'll tell him something stupid. Don't worry. Oh my god, that siren is still going on. Okay, now it's stopped. Never mind.
All right. We have a question. Do you think Biden going to war over Ukraine is going to end his presidency? His presidency is already over. Honestly,
It's going to end. He's going to die. It's not going to. The Ukraine thing is not going to end it, but he's going to die.
Yeah.
Sometime.
In office, as much as we like to think that, realistic as it seems, I don't think he could. I honestly don't think. Like, something in my gut is telling me, unless there's an assassination, which I wouldn't be surprised about. Like they could just be like, look how evil the Republicans are. They shot someone. It would be something to divide the people even more.
That would be such a Fed attack or a psyop.
Yeah.
I would not be surprised if something like that happened. I mean, think of how much that would turn people against the Republicans, especially the way we're going. You know.
And if you look at like I forgot what curse it is, but it's some sort of curse, right? And it's like every 20 years on the 0th year of someone being elected in, they always get assassinated. Ronald Reagan, 1980, JFK, 1960. I mean, if you do FDR in 1940, if you look at all these or whatever,
I don't remember Ronald Reagan getting assassinated.
Or FDR.
It was an attempt.
He died in office, but he wasn't assassinated.
Really? Okay, I forgot, but it was something. It was one of the Roosevelts. No, it was Teddy Roosevelt. I think in.
Yeah. He got shot, and he was like, "It
I
appears I've been
survived.
shot." Yeah.
I mix up the Roosevelts. So, yeah, sorry about that. Yeah, no, that's whatever. But anyway, Ronald Reagan did get. It was an attempted assassination, shot in the chest. So, there's that, and that's why Bush hid. That's why he never went out for Katrina, because he knew what he had coming. That's why it took him forever, because people would always just be mad about stuff. So it was like,
well, he got those shoes thrown at him. You could count that.
Assault with a potentially deadly weapon. Yeah, that would have been funny. But yeah, no, it's 2020. Biden gets elected in, and now we got to. I would not be surprised if they just played it off as that. I mean, it happens. So. The last successful one was JFK. So if they dare compare Biden to JFK, if that happens, I will be so pissed. Because I don't
like JFK.
I think JFK, if like we had a president that had like basically what would be modern policies of JFK, I would probably vote for him. Only because it would be the only good Democrat we would have in a while in office. So I'd be like, okay, let's just try to get this in so we can get the Democrat stuff out of the way, and then we can go back after he's done. But I don't really like.
Fair enough.
I don't gloat about him because Bay of Pigs and shit was like, a complete L, and it really turned Cubans away from the Democrat Party, especially after they started acting all socialist. So yeah, no, the Democrat Party isn't something I would continuously support, but I definitely registered as independent because I'm going to be 18 just in time for the midterms. So
Epic.
yeah. I'm just going to see what candidate speaks to me. It'll probably be a Republican so far. The Senate, I do know the Senate competition. I read into them. Look up just Senate candidates for Illinois, like Republican ones, and like there's one Peggy Hubbard, and she's like this black lady or whatever. She's actually pretty good. Like there's one Tim Arview. I don't like him. He just talks about God repeatedly, which is fine, like respect. But he's just like, I think God would do this. God believes this. I'm like, I don't care what God thinks. You're not speaking to anybody right now. All you're saying is what God thinks. I want to know what you're going to do in office. If you're going to base something off of God, that isn't really comforting, because what are you going to do when somebody what are you going to do when something happens in the Senate? Like God didn't talk about that, like I want you to like talk about your personal policies, something that has happened to you over your life to where you can grow as a person, and not something where you just read a book written 2,000 years ago and then you think that they would have any idea about modern history today. I don't think that would help.
You seem very anti-God.
I'm anti-God in politics. I don't want it in politics. I'm pro do whatever you want, but the second you get it into politics, it really annoys me. It's like, because then also it seems, even though it clearly isn't, it just seems segregationalist. Like it clearly isn't, but it's just like, they're voicing for one religion when it's like we have all these other ones. So what are you going to do about what their God's got to say? Because this is, again, like I said, it's America. It's freedom of expression. That's what we're built on. So what are you going to do about their gods? You think their gods are going to be happy with what you're doing? No. Like it should be your personal policies, what you personally believe in. Like I like somebody that's like, Peggy Hubbard, where it's just she gets down to the point. She's like, I believe this. I don't think we should have welfare. My mother didn't do it no matter how hard we struggled. She always told me it was definitely a trap. I believe that. Like it seems like she genuinely cares, and she isn't just like saying something that will get rural support. She's saying something that'll get urban support, suburban support, and rural support. Because then she talks about how there should be definitely lower taxes and how we should actually help out rural areas in times of whatever. Like she actually went in depth. This dude just I'm not even kidding. He just talked about God for like 45 minutes. He just said God would do this, God would do like like imagine if some Muslim was just saying Allah, Allah, Allah repeatedly. It would get annoying, or you'd think the place is going to blow up. One of the things, but it would be chaotic. You wouldn't want to hear that repeatedly. You'd be like, "That's great, dude," but like, what about my God? What about everybody else's? So I don't think he'll garner that much support. We would need someone better than that. I want somebody that can actually win in this state, not somebody that's just gonna be like, pretending to care. And it's like, it's one thing if you just believe in God, because it's like, I can respect that. But there's another point where it's like, he's trying so badly to pretend like he cares about God that much. Like he doesn't. And that's annoying. And it's like, don't use your
Yeah, I mean, fair enough.
Don't use your faith as a weapon to like seem like you have moral high ground, because you don't. Like that's my end game. That's what I want people to see. Like there can be, like if there was a Satanist that didn't even want to implement Satanist laws, that just wanted to be like, hey, you know what? I'm a Republican. I want to do all these Republican values. I want to support freedom and all that. I'd be like, yeah, okay, I'll vote them in. I don't care what their personal lives are. I care about what they want to do for my personal life. It's giving me more freedom to express myself or do stupid shit. I'm all in. I'm all in. I don't care. But the second it starts getting into like, I don't know, there's just something about politicians like gloating about how much they believe in God. Like some part of me on the inside, I don't think about that much if you have to keep reassuring us. So then it's like, it's kind of hard for me to like take Tim Arview seriously. Like, I love God, I just don't love Tim Arview. As well as a lot of his policies are really traditionalist, at least for me. Like, I would not, like, he's like, what I would describe as like a 1960s Republican. Like,
Yeah.
like kind of like maybe even a 50s, like, but still like somehow like 46 or something. But Peggy Hubbard, and I forgot one other guy, but I remember Peggy mostly. she's really good. I think we should prop her up as the Republican candidate because she would actually like grow in urban support, like especially in like believe it or not Hispanic communities, because she's pretty socially moderate but enough like to the right to where it's like she'll get Hispanic support. She'll grow a little bit in the Black community just because like, oh yeah, an African American woman, but
Yeah.
it will be mainly Hispanics because they'll support her economic policies and they'll support her social views, being like, hey, you should be able to present your culture however you want, you know, anything like that. And I think that will really, like, Latin culture would love her. Suburbanite, just because, she's very like, pro working class, she do everything to help them. Blue collar, white collar workers, all that. She would help them out a lot, at least with some of the stuff that she's mentioned. Read into her, I swear. If you guys want to learn about her, I'll probably send a link to her stuff in the chat because I had an interview with her. But yeah,
Yeah, I'd be interested to learn more about her.
Yeah, because she's actually pretty good. I think it's Irvin. If Irvin gets the nomination, he's immediately pretty much won. He's won the governorship. But Peggy Hubbard would definitely be interesting to see what would happen there. I feel like she narrowly won the Senate, but she would still be winnable if she got enough support. But I don't know. What's everyone else got to say?
I don't know. I don't know much about the Illinois Senate. I'm interested to learn, though. Illinois is definitely a state that could go Republican soon. I mean, I think governorship it's more likely to go red than Senate, but
yeah, Senate's pretty blue. It would take a lot,
Yeah.
The blue candidate would have to be really awful, and the red candidate would have to be probably, if it's Peggy Hubbard, my dream, and all that, then yeah, then probably her. And then we would, it would be narrow, but she would still win. But it just depends on the candidate. If it's Tammy Duckworth, then, she's going to win because she's pretty not in the middle. She's left leaning, but she still like appeals to most people. So but if it's Dick Durbin, then it's kind of like, okay, now we got some competition. So yeah, that's my take on. What about Ohio Senate? I don't know much about Ohio.
Ohio Senate's
JD.
interesting. I mean, we have we have a wide variety of candidates. We have everything from JD Vance, who I support, who's pretty based. I support JD Vance for Senate. We have everything from him to Josh Mandel, who's just awful.
Yeah, really bad.
And then we have Jane Timken, who's pretty much I don't even know what you would call her. She's just a generic conservative trying to be a Trump supporter. We have Bernie Moreno, who's this like socialism, generic conservative kind of guy. We have Mike Gibbons, who's more of a Rand Paul libertarianish, but also America First. I kind of like Mike Gibbons, but I still support JD Vance. But we have Mike Gibbons, who's running. Let's see, who else do we have? We have Michael Leopold. He's a veteran he's just running. See, who am I forgetting? There's a bunch of more. There's at least a few more people running, but yeah, it's a very contested primary, and I doubt Trump's going to make an endorsement, so it's just going to be a nasty primary.
Yeah, wow. I'm probably going to go just because it's like, talking about.
Yeah, I think we're going to wrap up the stream here. Thank you guys for tuning in to part 4 of the Rust Belt Boys podcast. Be sure to like and subscribe for more, and we will see you in the next one.